All right, welcome back, folks. I've got Kieran with me again. We were just talking.
Hello.
We were just talking. I waved. We were just talking D&D styles and how some modules are still, long after the death of the man. Some modules are still very Gygaxian, which generally means sort of like hardcore mode D&D, much more versus style play. Would you
Yes,
agree?
I would agree. And I mean, especially with what we were talking about, which is the hardcover Tales from the Yawning Portal, since that was remaking classic modules for 5th edition from earlier editions. White Plume Mountain, which was the module I was running last night while you were doing your previous video, is, while not written by Gygax, it was written by an author who was trying to impress upon Gygax that he should be hired by, I think it was still TSR at the time.
Makes sense.
So it was written with the Gygaxian style, which it's
a
really
certain
interesting.
kind of fun.
Yes, but it is a kind of fun where you're like, oh,
I don't mind a hard module that makes you use all your abilities. What I don't like about the Gygaxian module
is when they flat out cheat.
yes, when they change the rules of the game. That bothers me anytime it happens, to be honest. The rules are the rules, and unless there's some, MacGuffin, some caveat there ahead of time, I don't like when they change. It does put me out of the game.
Yeah.
But one of the other things is the players who act like, oh, you're gonna do this? Go ahead, you're gonna die. And you know what? No, most of these are beatable. They're just, you've got to be smart about it.
Yeah. One thing that stood out to me during White Plume Mountain last night was at one point we were facing a room that had 9 orbs in it that were made of glass, and so our wizard went in to investigate. And
like you do.
Luckily he was a war mage, so
okay.
as a class, a pretty tanky ass wizard.
Yeah, tanky as wizards go. Like the Blade Singer is a little tankier as far as AC, but they have to be.
I mean, he's sitting at a
for
23 AC before shield.
Yeah, well, I mean, my level 10 wizard was sitting around the same. So yeah.
Yeah, it's a high AC. Is kind of like 23 is nothing to sneeze at.
No, it's not terrible, that's for sure. And the thing I was going to say, though, is Blade Singers need to know they're getting into a fight so they can start fight song style to really get advantage of their AC, or they don't have it.
Yeah. So the wizard steps in, and as soon as he steps in, the door slams shut. Like, there's like a few seconds where we could have also stepped in, but like those passed, and the door slams shut.
Yeah.
And now suddenly is immune to magic and attempts to break the doors down. Like, we couldn't open the door, no amount of strength would break it down, and things like knock and dispel magic would not remove the magic that kept the door shut.
So there's a door, and it's shut, and there's no in-game way to interact with it.
That is correct, and that is irritating, because there is no magic that shouldn't respond to dispel magic or knock.
Or an anti-magic field
for a door.
Or something. Like, if you've got the tools, there should be a tool or two available to you in the game. Even if your party might not have it, or quite possibly won't have it, there should at least be an option to defeat any given puzzle with the skills the game provides.
Exactly. And that is what was irritating to me about that particular section. There was a great Gygaxian twist in there. There was a silver ring that that telepathically told people that it would, if you put it on, at the cost of a little bit of your life for every day that you lived with while wearing it, like, the end of your life gets a little bit shorter.
Sure, a little closer.
You gain permanent haste, invisibility at will, a wish, detect magic at will, and a bunch of other shit.
This sounds like a lie.
No, it was true, but he said the decision had to be made before you left the room.
Yeah.
And the wording of it was like, kind of, oh, and a once a day fly.
That's a
And
lot
so,
good.
It sounds super awesome at the cost of the end of your life, and I'm playing one of the few AL
The worst
characters
part of
I've
your
actually...
life.
Yeah, I'm playing one of the few AL characters that I actually, you know, have kept up, because Season 9 rules did not really gel for me in the way I like to play D&D.
Yeah, I think I quit at Season 7 with AL because of the...
I think you did Death... You got out at Death Curse, I got out at Magic Item Limits.
Yeah, you know what? I wouldn't have had too much of a problem with the magic item limits and stuff as long as they rolled it out better than they did. Because like everything AL rolled out, they rolled it out super, this is just how it is. Instead of, okay, we're doing this to balance gameplay. Please look into, here's our why, here's our explanation. But no, it was always, nope, this is just how it is now.
Yeah. I would have been a little bit better with it if the numbers weren't so restrictive. Tier 1, you can only have 1 magic item total. Mm-hmm. Tier 2 is total of 3.
Yeah.
Like, the character that I was playing was, like, when I was starting to get out of AL, I still had a bunch of DM XP and DM drops from previous seasons. Yeah. So I just built a character, and I made a level 9 character with, like, 6 magic items, because that's what I had left in DM drops.
Yeah, so I got the... I got Grey Prince out here last time. Did they at least let you? And they got God Tamer. Did they at least let you reclaim your excess magic items if there were DM drops? Let you.
They let you reclaim if it's a character that was put forward from a previous season, which is like what Pradir would have to be, because they were made before season 9. Yeah. Okay. So I have 3 magic items that are just kind of sitting in limbo.
Right.
That I can reclaim 2 of them when I hit level 11. But like that means I'm not taking new magical treasure from.
Right, because those were items you handpicked, and thus they were items you wanted.
Yes. Like what? So Pradir's 6 magic items are Whip of Warning. Bracers of Protection, Ring of Protection.
Sorry, I gotta ask, what class is this character with a Whip of Warning?
They're a multi-class monk bard.
Okay,
Kensai monk and swords bard.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense with a whip as a weapon. It's one of the only classes that really makes whip like really a viable weapon in 5e.
Well, and warning is there in AL there weren't a ton of warning weapons that were available in modules. So the Whip of Warning that I awarded when I was running a Curse of Strahd module was one that was available to me. I really wanted it more for the warning than for the whipping.
Sure, but it is a great Kensai weapon.
Yes, and it is one of the Kensai weapons for the character, so that when I need a ranged melee weapon, I have one.
Yeah, here, have some reach.
I mean, it's about as good as a dagger, but it's a dagger with 10-foot reach.
Yep. Well, I mean, but it's still a monk weapon, which means, okay, it's about as good as a dagger with 10-foot reach, but it takes your monk unarmed damage, so...
Yep.
As soon as that's anything, better than a dagger, then suddenly you've got this 10-foot
Well, no, I have
weapon.
to spend a key point to turn a Kensai weapon's damage into my martial arts damage.
Do you?
Yes.
I thought it was just a monk weapon. No, they're monk weapons, and monk weapons always do martial arts damage.
Oh, well, then I've been doing too little damage. Or no, wait, my monk damage die is still at D6, so yeah, my scimitar's fine.
Yeah. Don't you have to do a melee weapon and a ranged weapon?
Yeah, by the time you hit 6, you have 2 melee weapons and 2 ranged weapons.
Okay.
So
I know,
my ranged weapons are thrown daggers, are darts, and a longbow, basically.
Whip or a versatile weapon.
Whip and scimitar are the 2 melee weapons.
I'm just saying, like a lot of like power picks are whip or versatile weapon as your melee for the first choice, and for your ranged weapon, it's basically universally short bow. It's just
yeah, but they're a half elf, so they have elven weapon proficiencies. So longbow.
Well, that's I know it has to not have the heavy property. Is the problem?
But longbow doesn't have the heavy property.
Absolutely does.
Does it?
Yep. It's not the end of the world. I mean, it's you know, just something you would have to adjust for AL play. Homebrew would likely allow it.
Well, I'll fix it then. But regardless, like, I only really use the longbow for like shooting ropes across things.
Right. Oh.
So I was taking it for its ridiculous range. I much prefer the sheer like crap ton of +1 darts I have for actual ranged weapon attacks.
Sure. That's a viable way to look at it. Yeah, but the thing with short bow versus longbow in that case is the Kensai does require not to be a heavy weapon, which is why a lot of people like to choose a versatile weapon as their melee, because they can get that. I think I am just charmed all wrong, and I didn't even think about it. I just came in here and I was like, oh yeah, I'm pretty sure I've got Wayward Compass on. Like, wait a second.
So yeah, the 6 magic items on Pradir are the Whip of Warning, the Bracers of Defense, the Ring of Protection, a Bag of Holding, because everyone should always have a Bag of Holding.
Yeah, Bag of Holding is just a fantastic item to have.
A Ring of Animal Influence, because it's not a bad thing to have. It takes care of a lot of niche shit that you sometimes need, but you don't want to use your actual known bard spells for.
Sure thing. You know, in general, it's one of those you don't want to necessarily commit any kind of a permanent choice. Druids get away with it because they can prepare spells, but bards or anyone else who might want to pick it up really have to really consider if they're going to commit to that.
Yeah. And then Ildrune Scimitar, in that I had an Ildrune and then I put it on a non-magical scimitar.
I always thought that an Ildrune just turned something into a Flame Tongue effectively, but it doesn't. It's quite a different effect at the end of the day.
Yeah, no, it's just a flat d6 of fire damage. You never have to you never have to take a bonus action to activate it.
Right. It doesn't give off
flip
light,
side of that. Flip sides of that is it doesn't give off light, and you.
And it's only 1d6, not 2. I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's no plus to hit or damage, because a Flame Tongue is a +2 weapon, I think.
No, I don't think it is. I think it's just the flame damage. I think the Ice Brand is the like legendary or whatever, or very rare, and it does have the +2 to hit and damage. Pretty sure.
But yeah, so you were just complaining how you were charmed wrong and you didn't take the opportunity in that room to bench it up.
Yeah, you did. I totally did. You're right. I totally just walked right past a bench I could have used to fix that charm situation. Yeah, I'm just obviously focused on our conversation just enough to lose track of what I'm up to. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think I'm literally like I've got 1, maybe 2 charms on that are just not super helpful. But they could make the difference. I'm not saying it will, but it could.
So yeah, like it. So I had to pick only 3 to keep, and I kept obviously the Bracers of Defense, the Ring of Protection, and the Scimitar.
Right. Yeah, because you're gonna want something for offense, and monks without those items you mentioned for defense actually do end up like until high tier when you've got the ASIs to spare and get your wisdom and your dex both up. I find that monks tend to lack a bit for defense.
Well, without the +3 from magic items, Pradir's AC is 17.
Yeah, which
so
okay, but it's not great.
Yeah, I'm high dex and I'm high wisdom.
Yeah, of course. Although you do have the
also
option
high
of building
charisma.
a strength monk, it's just a really weird build. 3-5 or 3x had some really great strength monks, but 5e doesn't really reward it much at all.
But because of the combination of Kensai and Blades Bard, I can get my AC up to
right. By attacking only with your unarmed strikes and not with your weapon, and by
no, it's not only with my unarmed strikes. It's if I
give up.
I have to make an unarmed strike and have a Kensai weapon in one hand.
Is it? I thought you had
Yeah,
to...
that is how deft parry works.
Okay.
When I take the attack action and then also make a martial arts attack, so I have to either do only one sword and one punch with
Right.
my extra attack, or I have to use the bonus action for a martial arts attack.
Or flurry.
Or flurry. But it means that if I'm planning to, say, patient defense or step of the wind, I have to split my attack with the attack action.
Okay.
Then my AC goes up by 2 till the end of my next turn.
Right. And then... you
At
can
which
also
point
get,
it can be reset.
an inspiration die to your AC.
Yep, with a defensive flourish, which is currently still a D6 on the bard. Which means that I can add another 8 to my AC, technically. Possibly.
Yeah. I did this wrong. I did this not how I would normally do this. I did this the rusty way. There we go. that was the Donovan way.
That's very fast.
Yeah, the Donovan way is quick. I'm like, wait, no, this isn't how I fight this boss. I jump right into this boss's personal space with a Cyclone, get a bunch of soul from that, and then once I have that soul,
Murder him.
I use a Bristle Shriek until he's dead. This is clearly Broken Vessel.
I remember the
Lost
Broken
King.
Vessel fight being a lot harder for you.
I didn't have the nail I have now, or the masks I have now, or the zone that I'm in, I guess, because every once in a while I just get in the zone and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna thrash these bosses.
That's fair.
And I'm on
So-
to Paintmaster Shio, who I love as a character. And as a fight, I don't find a particularly hard one.
So do the different paint colors do different effects?
They do indeed. So red is that AoE arc there. Yellow is like a nail spike. Purple's a rain attack. There's the yellow. Blue is more of a like area in front of Cell Slash.
There's something really amusing about the fact that he's fighting you with a paintbrush.
And a lot of people find him harder than the brothers. I just don't. Maybe it's just a playstyle thing. I even without like perfectly set up charms, I go through the second Pantheon easier than I go through the first one.
In 9.5 minutes.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just a thing for me. I guess the bosses are more my style. Something I've noticed, like as we kind of joked about Grimm's floor spikes and things like that, any boss that has abilities that punish you for moving, I get punished.
Yeah, you're a dodge and weave kind of fighter.
Yeah, I don't like abilities that require me to stand still, even if it's at specific times. Alright, if I'm gonna go take care of the first Pantheon, the Pantheon of the Master, I probably want to have lots of soul, because I'm gonna need to do healing between things and stuff. So let's see if I can't get through the 3 basic Pantheons. Pantheon of the Sage might be a struggle, I'll do it last. Pantheon of the Master shouldn't be a struggle for me.
I mean, it might be, but we'll see.
It might be. I can't believe I flubbed up on the bosses last time. Like, I made it to the very end with the brothers and then died. On one brother left, really? Yeah. So, you know, talking about the Gygaxian thing, I know a lot of people love that style of D&D. It's never really been my jam. I don't mind hard. I don't mind difficult. I do mind the mentality of DM versus player, and I do mind the mentality of you know, I can change the rules on the fly to make things harder for you, and that's often how those sorts of modules felt.
Yeah. I mean, when they're done well and they don't cheat against the player, and instead are just like treating them really fair, but maybe using super obscure combinations that you wouldn't normally think of.
Yeah.
That's actually
Harsh,
super fun,
but fair.
And yeah, that's super fun and just gets you going. Wow, I never even thought of that before.
People like to talk about what's the big Monty Hall tier 3 from that was running in Adventure League a lot?
Tomb of Horrors?
Yeah, Tomb of Horrors. And like how deadly it was, and people were like, oh, have fun going after all your loot and dying. I ran through that at least twice and not died because the party used good strategy, not just for combat, but for exploration. Like we were often using familiars and unseen
Yeah, I was with you in
servants
one of those runs.
Yeah.
I had Vanderden. We
That might have
almost
been-
lost my animal companion because we sent them ahead.
Yeah.
But eventually they found their way out of the
But
trap.
I mean, as much as your character would be upset about losing their animal companion, like as a player, it would suck a lot more to just lose the character outright.
Exactly. Now, granted, we lost them because the wolf couldn't as easily have solved that puzzle. I mean, I got them through it, but that's because I was looking and then using, like, some of that animal companion ability stuff and the fact that I had just used Beast Sight as one of my ranger spells.
Yeah.
You know, that handy ranger spell that basically gives you all the perks of Find Familiar, but only for a few
without
minutes.
having to have Find Familiar and everything that
And, you know, you can apply it to any animal.
yeah. Exactly.
So I used that to help them figure out a lever puzzle, and then it was just making checks to pull the damn levers. Because the wolf lacks thumbs and
yeah.
hands.
Yeah. But like again, using things like Arcane Eye and Unseen Servant and all those things to scout, you know, using just general divinations like what's the Wheel or Woe?
Guidance, pretty much any skill check that's being made.
I'm trying augury. Just using
Yes.
augury to know, okay, of these paths, would this be the safer path? Or what would happen if we went down this path, right? Those sorts of... Oop. I gotta hit him before she did her thing. Yeah, just knowing some information ahead of time via use of proper spells. And people look at spellcasters a lot of the time like, oh, they're there for Fireball, and I am the biggest advocate against that mindset. Like, Fireball is got its uses. It's sometimes the right spell. It's so seldom the right spell, though. There's so many better spells that will prevent damage in the first place from ever happening.
Our War Wizard, in fact, all the big abjuration spells, the classics, your lightning bolts, your fireballs, they have a staff of power for that.
They have a what? Sorry?
They have a staff of power for that.
Well, you know, same.
Yes, I know. I am your DM.
I know. And I'm a big fan of not bothering to know to prepare the spells. You might have them in your spellbook, but unless you know you're going into a situation like a big field battle or something, or up against enemies that are explicitly weak against them, I never prep them. Wizards are all about prep.
Yeah.
And if your wizard's not all about prep, in my relatively professional opinion, you're you're playing your wizard wrong. If you always use the same spells in every situation, you might as well play a sorcerer.
I mean, unless you really want ritual casting, which, I mean, I get.
Sorcerers ritual cast as well. They just don't
Do
have...
they?
Yeah, they just don't have as broad a selection as wizards, because that spellbook doesn't care if you have the spells prepped when it comes to rituals.
That's true.
That's the big thing about wizards, is so many writs. That's why one of the, and I'll get back to my D&D builds, but one of my favorite builds I ever made was a cleric with wizard ritual caster, because the cleric can so easily get a bunch of rituals of their own, but then when it comes to adding rituals to your character, the wizard's the easiest character to add rituals, because you're going to find spellbooks. There's enemies with them.
Yep.
So the ritual caster feat to take wizard spells as rituals is so good, especially because they have so many just really useful rituals.
Yep. And so under Season 9 rules, since we did an 8-hour module last night, we all automatically gained a level. because that's how it works now.
Isn't it you all may gain a level?
Yes.
Yeah.
But as I was a level 9 character going in, I chose to gain a level.
Yeah.
And I picked up Bard 4 for the ASI because I had odd numbers in both Wisdom and Charisma.
Sure. Might as well, right?
Well, I mean, it was a hard choice because 7 Monk would have given me Evasion and Stillness of Mind.
Mm-hmm. And that's true. I say you may as well, but there's always trade-offs. Very seldom is there a dead level in any class where you go like, you know what, I could do with anything other than that.
So the planned build for this character is 5 Bard and then the rest Monk.
Right.
Because 5th level of Bard will get me the D8, which will be great for the flourishes.
As well as the short rest cooldown.
Exactly.
So good.
Because I'm being real stingy with my flourishes right now, because I only have, well, now 3 of them a day, but...
Yeah.
Like, I don't Bardic Inspire people unless... I used 1 Bardic Inspiration in the... when the wizard was trapped in the room where no one could help him.
Right.
Because he could still hear me through the door, so I was able to inspire him as a bonus action.
That's nice. That's nice.
So,
well, Shirley on that one.
But like that was the only time I actually inspired someone because
you couldn't otherwise assist.
Yes. I was like, I will use up one of my flourishes because I would probably have used one in this fight anyway.
One brother down.
Because had I gone through with the wizard, I would have been in there with him alone, and then I would have been using defensive flourishes when I was feeling a little too ganged up on.
Yeah.
Because the bonkers amounts of
I saw
possible
you were doing there, Aura.
of possible adding to AC is just, it's great.
Yeah. These two, I don't want to club it again, so I'm gonna.
I
quiet
understand.
For a minute.
So I'll finish telling the story of the Silver Ring that was super awesome and my character totally put on because Pradir is all about they're a former gladiator who's
Right.
all about being heroic, serving Ilnator, and leaving a glorious corpse and story.
That's a great Kensai story, or a great Kensai background. There we go.
Well,
Brothers
and
defeated.
I mean that's how I also explained the Blades Bard because that's making it showy, and
Right, now that makes sense. And like, just, you know, a master of many weapons and
Yep.
able to
and
flourish.
Ilnator's all about the noble sacrifice.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, being able to be, like, even more powerful at the cost of I'll die sooner was not a big trade-off for that character.
No, yeah. The
But the
God of
specific-
Martyrs says do that.
Yeah. But the specific wording of when the ring gave us the information about it was that when I left the room, the ring lost its power.
Weird.
It only worked when it was in that room. That was the Gygaxian twist there.
So,
And
so
had
do
I
you still have
had
the
I not been
downside of
so,
it?
no, I don't have the downside.
Okay.
That was only going to be a thing if the ring had any power outside of the room.
Okay.
So, like, I was so blinded by all the awesome things I was going to be able to do, I didn't listen closely enough.
Right. Which is the intent.
Yes, because it also granted one wish. Like, I could have wished, and had I listened closely enough, and I did, I had the DM reread it to me after that happened, and I was like, oh yeah, that is there. Shit, I was just blinded by the
The greed.
temptation.
Yeah, the temptation for sure.
And so I listened again, and I was like, I could have used the wish to permanently transfer the effects of the ring to me.
Yeah.
Because that's a perfectly legitimate wish, to wish that a magic item's abilities are transferred to you.
So you still give up your attunement slot but you
Yes.
no longer have to have the item.
Oh, it wasn't an attunement item.
What?
I just put it on, and immediately I had all those powers. It was great because we still had 2 fights in that room, so I was hasted and able to turn invisible at will.
That's redonk.
It was. And I mean, had I wished for that to carry over, I would have been the most powerful character ever. Because a permanent haste on a monk?
I mean, it's good on any melee character, not just a monk.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh,
But,
good.
like, monks don't ever get the 3rd attack. That's a fighter thing.
Right, the only one who gets it is a fighter, and like Gloomstalker Ranger on the first round of combat.
Yes. So I would permanently be. My AC would have been up to 20. Would have been. I was 19 at that time because I hadn't upped my wisdom yet. So my AC would have been 21 permanently, and then go up to 23 after I made my first round of attacks.
Yeah.
My movement would have been 90 feet around before doing anything like Step for the Wind.
Yeah, that would have been ridiculous.
I would have always had advantage on dexterity checks.
This is a
Not
boss
saves,
who's,
but just
historically
checks.
given me a lot of trouble, but I think I've practiced enough that it's not so
Well,
big
you
a
did
deal
just
anymore.
defeat their normal form recently.
Yeah. However, there we go. What you want to try to do is separate them a little bit, which is somewhat difficult.
And then you really want to take out the pet first?
Right. Because when you take out the pet, the rider actually just gives up. But not immediately, don't make that mistake. I've said this before, I'll say it again. The rider, if they're in an attack animation, will complete it before proceeding to give up on existence. Wait for him to
I
roll
just assumed
forward.
you got rid of the pet first because it's creating field effects. I hate field effects.
Yeah,
You love field effects.
No, I don't.
As a wizard, you do.
I love field effects in a tabletop game, but in a game where I have to, I'm gonna die. Where I have to, oh, yep, dead, contact damage. Where I have to focus on what I'm doing and dodge those contact effects manually, then I don't love them. Anyway, rather than continue to beat my head against that wall, I'll try to get in another video. So we're gonna wrap up.
Sounds good. Had fun.
Thanks for joining me, and thanks
My
folks
pleasure.
for watching, listening.
Hope you enjoyed us talking about D&D, because that's kind of what we do a lot of the time.
It's true. Sometimes magic, sometimes video games we enjoy. Yeah, thanks again. We'll catch you later.